Do the substitutes have an immediate impact because Australia are coming forward and they've
Arda Güler said in a tunnel.
No.
What do you say?
In Turkish, he said, "We are better than them. Let's prove it in the first minute."
the other end, Australia swarming forward. That's a lovely touch and that's a lovely...
Australia 2, Turkey 0.
That's quite a shock.
Nobody gave Australia a chance going into this game. Not the pundits, not the bookmakers, not most football fans sitting at home. Turkey were returning to the World Cup for the first time in 24 years, with a squad full of Champions League names, a midfield built for control, and one of the most technically gifted attacks in the entire tournament. Australia were supposed to be the team that makes up the numbers in Group D, the team that tries hard, stays compact, and eventually gets picked apart. Instead, something completely different happened. On the 14th of June 2026, at BC Place in Vancouver, Australia beat Turkey 2-0 in their World Cup opener. Not a lucky 1-0, not a scrappy result. A controlled, disciplined, professional performance that left Turkey with 30 shots, 72% possession, and no goals. If you did not watch this game, you need to hear everything about it, because what Australia did in that stadium told a much bigger story than just 3 points in Group D. And if you are new here, welcome to Akinkunmi Sports Hub TV. We break down the moments, the tactics, and the stories behind the results. Drop a subscribe and let us get into this. The setup nobody wanted to talk about. Turkey arrived at this tournament with genuine excitement around them. Arda Güler, the Real Madrid midfielder with the left foot of a man twice his age, was expected to pull the strings and unlock defenses. Hakan Çalhanoğlu, one of the best deep-lying playmakers in Serie A, would control the pace of the game from the middle. Kerem Aktürkoğlu and Kenan Yıldız were waiting to punish any team that gave them space. On paper, this was not even close. Australia, on the other hand, came in with a question mark that had followed them for years. Could they compete against a team with this level of quality? Could they handle Güler in form? Could their young squad hold their shape for 90 minutes against relentless pressure? Tony Popovic had a plan, and the most important part of that plan was that Australia never tried to be something they were not. How Australia turned survival into a strategy. From the very first minute, Australia made a clear decision. They were not going to chase Turkey around the pitch, trying to win the ball in every area. They were not going to press high and leave space in behind. They settled into a compact defensive shape, narrowed the central lanes, and forced Turkey to keep recycling the ball out wide. Turkey had 72% of the possession by full time. They completed a very high volume of passes. They won 8 corners and delivered 28 crosses into the box. Normally, those numbers belong to a team that wins comfortably. But of those 28 attempts to deliver the ball into a dangerous position, and only 3 of them reached a teammate. That is not luck. That is organized defending executed over 90 minutes without losing concentration. Australia didn't just sit back and absorb. They pressed selectively. When Turkey tried to play through the middle, bodies appeared. When Hakan Çalhanoğlu looked to drive with the ball, pressure arrived. When Güler drifted into his favorite pockets of space, a yellow shirt was already there. The Socceroos forced 33 turnovers during the match, compared to Turkey's 24, which tells you that even with far less possession, they were constantly disrupting Turkey's rhythm and winning the ball back in key moments. This was Tony Popovic's blueprint working exactly as designed. Popovic himself was part of Australia's famous 2006 World Cup squad, the team that ended a 32-year absence from the tournament and reached the round of 16. Now he has become the first person ever to represent Australia at a World Cup as both a player and a head coach. That history isn't just a nice story. It means he understands exactly what this team needs to go deep in a tournament, and it showed in every decision he made against Turkey. A 20-year-old boy who was born in a refugee camp. The first goal arrived in the 27th minute, and it came from the most extraordinary place. Nestory Irankunda was born in 2006 inside a refugee camp in Tanzania.
His parents had fled the Burundian Civil War, one of the most devastating conflicts in recent African history, and the young boy took his first steps in the world with nothing around him that resembled stability or comfort. He grew up eventually making his way to Adelaide, Australia, where he would sign his first professional contract with Adelaide United at just 15 years old. By the time he was 18, he had scored in a World Cup qualifier against Palestine, becoming the second youngest Australian ever to score for the national team at any level. Bayern Munich came calling after that and signed him in 2024, breaking the A-League transfer record in the process. He spent time at Bayern's second team, went on loan to Swiss club Grasshopper, and then moved to Watford in the English Championship, where he continued to develop. In 2025, the CIES Football Observatory ranked him among the top 100 under-20 players in the entire world. Against Turkey, Paul Okan Angstler played a direct pass into space behind the Turkish defensive line. Irankunda attacked the channel with everything he had, cut inside experienced center-back Miri Demiral with a sharp change of direction, and finished low into the bottom corner with his right foot. That one moment changed the emotional picture of the entire match. Turkey now had to attack with more urgency. Australia had proven their plan could hurt a high-quality opponent, and a 20-year-old boy who started life in a refugee camp had just written his name into World Cup history. If you're enjoying this breakdown, hit that like button right now and share this video with someone who loves football. Stories like this one deserve to be heard. The goalkeeper nobody expected to start. While Irankunda took the headlines, there was another story running just as powerfully behind Australia's backline. Patrick Beach is 22 years old. He plays club football for Melbourne City in Australia's A-League. He made his senior international debut for the Socceroos on the 14th of November 2025 against Venezuela, less than 7 months before this World Cup. He was named player of the match that day, despite Australia losing 1-0. Then he came into the squad in Vancouver and sat behind Matthew Ryan, a 3-time World Cup veteran and the team's captain, as the expected number 2. Nobody seriously thought Beach would start against Turkey. Ryan had been the starting goalkeeper for Australia for years and had the experience to handle exactly this kind of match. But a couple of days before the game, Tony Popovic pulled Beach aside and told him he would be playing. Beach spoke to reporters afterwards and explained what that conversation meant to him. He said when the coach and the goalkeeper coach told him he was playing, their confidence became the confidence he needed to go out and do his job. He made 8 saves in that match, not routine catches, but genuine stops at moments when Turkey were threatening to turn pressure into goals. In the 30th minute, Abdul Karim Bardaki launched a fierce long-range shot that was heading for the net. Beach got across, fully stretched, and pushed it onto the post. That was not just a good save, that was a save that kept the 1-0 lead alive at the point when Turkey were at their most dangerous. His father, Mark Beach, was inside the stadium watching his son. After the match, he told reporters that what his boy achieved was no surprise to anyone who knew him. He said that every chat they had in the car on the way home from training, every takeaway food stop, every difficult moment in a long journey had been building toward exactly this.
Beach only started taking over as Melbourne City's first-choice goalkeeper in October 2024. Within 1 season, he had won an A-League championship, made his international debut, and started a World Cup match against one of Europe's most dangerous attacks. He made 8 saves and kept a clean sheet. The second youngest goalkeeper ever selected for a Socceroos World Cup squad just delivered one of the most impressive goalkeeping debuts the tournament has seen in many years. The second goal and the statement it made. Turkey pushed harder in the second half,
Kenan Yildiz came off the bench at halftime to add more creative threat. Güler continued to test Beach from distance. The pressure was real and it was sustained. Australia never truly cracked. Then, in the 75th minute, Australia found space again on the counter. Metcalfe, who had been working quietly through midfield all evening, found room just outside the penalty area. He shifted onto his left foot and drove a low shot hard into the bottom corner. It was clean, direct, and exactly the kind of finish that rewards a team for staying disciplined for 75 minutes. 2-0. Turkey's night was over. Their 30 shots, 72% possession, and 8 corners had produced nothing. A 1-0 win might have been read as Australia grinding out a result. A 2-0 win, with goals from a 20-year-old forward and a composed midfield drive, looked like something more considered. Australia had the structure, they had the moments, and when the moments came, they took them cleanly. The final number that needs to be said out loud is 55. Australia made 55 clearances during this match. That tells you exactly how much defending they did. It also tells you that not one of those 55 clearances turned into a Turkish goal. Discipline maintained over every single moment of a 97-minute performance. What this means for Group D. Australia now sit on 3 points at the top of Group D alongside the United States, who beat Paraguay 4-1 on the same match day. Turkey and Paraguay are both chasing from behind. In a group format where momentum after the first game shapes how teams approach everything that follows, Australia are now in a position they have rarely occupied at a World Cup. They are not playing from desperation. They can manage risk, pick their moments, and force opponents to come open in order to chase the game. For a team built around defensive patience and fast transitions, that is a significant advantage. Irankunda has momentum. Beach has the confidence of a performance nobody expected from him. The defense has proven it can survive 30 shots and keep a clean sheet. Metcalfe has shown he can produce in the big moments. The rest of Group D has been warned. The real story behind the numbers. Before we close this one out, let us sit with the real picture for a moment. 2 young men defined this match. One of them was born in a refugee camp in Tanzania and used the biggest stage in world football to write a new chapter in Australian football history. The other had never started an international match before this tournament and made 8 saves to help keep Turkey's attack completely quiet. This is what football gives us when we pay attention. Not just results, not just statistics, the actual human beings behind the performance. Australia did not play like the best team in the world on Saturday night in Vancouver. They played like a team that knows exactly who they are, trusts the plan completely, and executes it without flinching. That combination, on the biggest stage, with the players they have now, might take them further than anyone expected at the start of this tournament. The question is no longer whether Australia can compete at World Cup 2026. The question is how far they can actually go. If you want us to break down Australia's next group game or do a deeper look at any of the players we covered today, let us know in the comments. And if this is your first time here, subscribe and turn on notifications. We cover every angle of this World Cup, and we're just getting started.